So you were joking the other night about legitimately liking The Last Jedi, correct?
Here's where I stand. I do like it.
Like in a, oh my God, like this is such a bad thing sort of thing. Like, oh my God, look how they completely fucked the franchise. And
I don't agree with how they handled the new trilogy overall.
Okay.
I think that it was mishandled. I think that it should have been. I think that there is a great story within these characters, even though some of it is like a very mirrored reflection of like the old stuff.
which 7 was.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But I think that it should have been like one director for all three.
I agree with that.
And I think it should have been like probably filmed back to back to back, kind of how they did.
Lord of the Rings.
Yep. And that's kind of where I stand with it. But I do like Last Jedi. It's my it's my favorite of the three.
Oh, like when you say it's a favorite of the three, like
It had me from the moment when that movie opened. I don't think there's. No, I'm not gonna speak in hyperbole.
you think it was
here.
the best opening?
No, but that opening with Poe going against the dreadnought is like pretty fucking badass.
When he's just flying. I watched.
When he's out there by himself.
I will say the first 20 minutes are the best part of the movie.
It's great.
Are the best part of the movie, and then they start adding in characters that just don't need to be involved.
I'll give you that.
When did this movie come out? Was it 2017?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, 2016, because it was 2 years before Episode 9, so I believe it was 2017. So I had never been so hyped to go see a movie in my entire life.
I mean, just the title alone, right?
The Last Jedi. It was, it was coming off 7, which was not a bad movie. It was a remake of A New Hope, Episode 4.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, Star Wars is back, and you see like Luke Skywalker was not in 7 until like the final 3 seconds. He was supposed to be in 8. And instead we got. I never left the theater more disappointed in a movie, and I've seen like movies like Vampire Suck and superhero movie with like Drake Bell before. So I just don't know how you can. Do you consider yourself like a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, I do consider myself a Star Wars fan.
It's just such a I don't know anyone who, and like I definitely know the analogy when I say I love the prequels, and people say, oh, the prequels ruined it for me because I grew up with the original trilogy. And that's my exact thoughts on the sequels. Not that they ruined the prequels or the original trilogy, but I just think they were just such heaping piles of dog shit that was so mismanaged and completely fucked up from the beginning that it's gross. And I understand why children liked it. But there's so much wrong with that movie that is just this isn't. It felt like a fan fiction, an extremely left wing fan fiction Star Wars film.
Well, you're talking about the addition of Rose.
I'm not even talking about Rose, because people think making a Asian American character have a prominent position. No, I'm talking about the whole backdrop of Poe during the movie. He's so the entire movie they're being chased. Okay.
Yeah.
They're being chased and they're a mile away from, the bad guys. And Vice Admiral Gender Studies there. I forget her name, but she's like, well, we have no plan.
Oh, Holdo.
Yeah. Holdo. She's like, oh, we'll just die. And Poe's like, time the fuck out. We can't just die. So he does the rational thing, because Leia's in a coma or something after she flew through space somehow.
Not great.
So he's like, okay, well, if this girl's plan is just to fucking sit around and wait till we all die, we have to do a mutiny. So they do a mutiny, and then at the end they're like, oh, she actually had a plan the entire time. Yeah. Why didn't Poe just #believe women? That's the whole, that if everyone just #believed women, none of this would happen. Meanwhile, Holdo should have just been I have a plan. We'll ditch this ship 2 minutes, 2 minutes before they catch up to us, and we'll fly off into the sunset. But there's so much wrong with that. And then there's just pointless scenes. The whole casino scene.
Well, the casino scene is the worst, however long it is, of Star Wars things. That is the worst of it. I hated it.
I agree. It's it's cool to see imagine a casino in Star Wars, but there's no point to it.
Essentially what they did there is they tried to one up the first time you see the cantina. like
yes,
in A New Hope.
yes, they tried to make it like, oh look, here are
Look at all these crazy people,
all these crazy rich people,
Yeah.
and then when they were like, oh my god,
in a well-lit casino,
in a well-lit casino,
very spooky.
and it's like, oh wow. Then they get deep, and I've never heard this before, but when they're like, oh, the guy who's funding the resistance is the same people who are funding the bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all about the rich, and
It's a little preachy. I will give you that.
It's like, okay, and then they have to go and save the animals, and then we're not even hitting on Luke just being and just up in his hut just crying, which I don't even like mind if they made Luke like not as powerful, but to just give him like it's like he just gave up. And then the thing that like fucks with it even more is they're going towards this whole like they have this thing. They completely fuck up because I was so excited. I love I forget her name, but she's in Game of Thrones, the big girl.
Oh, Brienne, it's like Captain Phasma.
Yes,
Yeah.
Captain Phasma. So I was super excited for episode 7 when I saw Captain Phasma's armor and everything like that. I was like, oh shit, like this is gonna be like the new kind of like Boba Fett kind of like side character, badass. And she just gets like pushed around in episode 7 by Finn. They put a blaster to her back and make her open up all these doors. And then in episode 8, they just kill her off. And it seems like they tried to do the, I've read so many articles and videos.
Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes. She's a fantastic actor.
I hated that they killed off Phasma, but I also thought that they might like, I didn't think that was the end of her in 8. I thought she might have come back, but obviously that's not. Yeah.
Somehow Phasma came back.
Yeah,
What they did
I
with
don't know.
fucking Palpatine in episode. So, anywho, I feel like they tried to do. They saw how Infinity War went and how no one expected like all the superheroes to kind of die at the end there, and they were like, "Well, what if we kind of one up that?" And every single time you expected something to happen, they did the opposite. So it's like, oh, here comes Kylo. He's going to shoot down Leia. Nope, in come his buddies on the 2 TIE fighters, and they blow up her ship. Oh, she's floating in space. That would have been a beautiful way for Carrie Fisher to go out because she was dead when like she died a couple months before. I remember on the I believe when Rogue One released, it came out like at the end it was like for our princess.
Yeah.
So like they had time to kind of like change the script around and you know put a couple things in there, and then she's floating in space, and then she just starts floating towards the ship, and the doors open, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Princess Leia's alive," and it was just like, why did that need to happen?
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Luke going like he stayed on his planet and he just meditated really hard and you know sent a little clone of himself over there that you know no one realized, but then he somehow dies because he stresses himself out too much. And then
I gotta be honest with you, you're really making my argument for liking it paper thin.
It's just like, and then it hits you at the end because I saw the movie with my dad and my brother in theaters, and I remember like I was so hyped going into it. I remember telling my friends, I was working at Best Buy at the time, and we were all like super excited. I remember telling them, whenever anyone is going to go see this new movie, like let me know and I will go with you. Like I would have went to go see it. But this is before I saw it. This is like how hyped I was for it. I was planning on going to see it like 10 times in the theaters. And then I saw it and my dad was like, "Oh, that was good." And I was like, I think it sucked, honestly. I mean, and he thought it was joking. And I was like, I thought it was stupid how they killed off Luke like that. I think it was kind of just like I did like the idea that Rey was no one, but I mean, the next movie kind of, you know, shits all over that idea. The throne room scene where they're fighting back and forth, I thought that was interesting.
I like that.
I liked it. It wasn't a lightsaber fight. It was different. I didn't like how they killed off Snoke in such a obvious and when he was saying like, and now you will turn your lightsaber to the person you hate the most, and it's like, I get it. He thinks he's talking about Rey, but then Kylo's like, what if I actually do this to Snoke?
Yeah.
And then he kills Snoke, and it's like, okay, that was fine. And then the idea of just there's so much wrong with this movie. I also didn't the main as soon as it started off, I was like, I don't like how this takes place right after episode 7. No Star Wars movie takes place directly after the other one.
There's no jump in time.
There was like episode 1 to 2, you know, Anakin's a child, Anakin's a teenager. Then they have the whole Clone Wars 3, and then obviously there's a big difference between 3 and 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and then obviously 6, 7. And then right after episode 7 is episode 8.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did Rey suddenly become this badass? And like I hate it because I was really involved in like Star Wars Twitter at the time. And everyone was like, oh, everyone's just calling, Rey a Mary Sue as if Anakin wasn't given anything. And Anakin trained for, 20 years or so. And he was also the most powerful, being in the world. But it was just, and then the whole like love triangle between Poe and Rey and Rose, it was like Poe's trying to sacrifice himself, and then Rose just comes out. That scene that they clipped to her like right before, and she's like, and I disagree with all the hate she got. I mean, she got like fucking buried.
That was crazy.
The actress, I think she deserved none of that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I think her character was written like absolute dog shit.
Ryan Johnson is one of my favorite
I like
directors.
Ryan Johnson too.
I do not believe that is what he intended. I think that the writing got out of hand, and like it was written by somebody else. Who was it written by?
Was it not written by Abrams? Or they had like a plan mapped out, and then he said fuck it, and then he did his own entire thing.
Trying to see, but I think he might. So he wrote it. Ryan Johnson wrote it.
Because I think Abrams had like a mapped out like trilogy, which is, if you're doing a trilogy for the most part, unless it's like I know it's like.
Wasn't Ryan Johnson supposed to do the last one, The Rise of Skywalker as well? And
no,
then they changed it?
The guy who was supposed to do that was the guy who did Jurassic World.
Oh yeah.
It was supposed to be called something else.
Not Matt Reeves.
It might have been. But anyway, it's completely different.
Colin Trevorrow.
Colin, yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Ryan Johnson had another. He was given another.
Trilogy.
Yeah.
That like is in limbo now, and who knows what because he's making $1 trillion off of Knives Out.
Do you think that? Yeah, right. Do you think that if Ryan, instead of like you went JJ, Ryan Johnson, and then whoever was the third director finished Ryan Johnson's vision, do you think it would have helped that movie at all? Like made that movie better?
I mean, it couldn't have made it worse. I guess because the whole idea is then they had to bring
like Rey being nobody, not bringing Palpatine back.
Well, see, that's the whole issue I have with the whole like trilogy aspect of it. Is like you can't have someone like build a house and like go through and then like halfway through be like, oh, now we're gonna bring in someone completely different and he can do whatever. And then, after he's done, be like, okay, now we're going to have the original guy come back and he's going to try to do his original thing.
I agree.
Because if Rey was supposed to be nobody from the beginning, well, they kind of hinted at things in the first movie and then they took it all away in the second movie. And then in the third movie, they were kind of like, I guess Palpatine's back now. And Palpatine's like, yep, you're my granddaughter. And it's like, what the fuck is going on with all of this?
Yeah, it's strange.
It was I don't know. I despise I don't mind Ryan Johnston as a director. I think Knives Out was very good. I think Looper is
great.
Looper is one of my not one of my favorite films, but I highly enjoy it. I'll watch it a couple times a year. And I also hate the main actor in that too. What's his name? Gordon Levitt.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, I can't stand him. But I think he does a decent job, and so does Bruce Willis. What else has Ryan Johnston done? He's done
Knives Out, Looper, Brick, which is why I didn't think it was very good. But I think Knives Out. I can't believe they're doing 2 more Knives Out.
Yeah, they're doing two more, and they're coming to Netflix, right?
That's
really? I think Netflix. If you look up Knives Out 2 and 3, they paid Ryan Johnston like $500 million or something like that. I think because I went to like auction. I think. So like, yeah, I'm looking forward to, I enjoyed Knives Out, but I just think that Ryan Johnston maybe wasn't the guy to do, and I think if you gave him his own trilogy and kind of said, hey, do what you want, but it was just so like completely.
I also think we've found out now with all of these, and not even like Book of Boba Fett, sure.
Yep.
The Mandalorian, I would think, and then like other shows like what they're gonna do, Cassian.
Yep.
I think being able to give these directors new characters in a Star Wars world, makes for new and inventive stuff rather than having
because it's George Lucas's stuff. I mean, I think to have a sequel that it's pretty much the same thing. If you look at the trilogies as George Lucas's vision, the prequel trilogy, George Lucas, the original trilogy, I know he didn't direct them, but George Lucas, and then the sequel trilogy, he had nothing to do with.
Yeah, that's.
I know he was like slightly brought in for episode 9 as like consulting, but I think that was because they were like, well, the like hardcore fans were so up in atoms where they like, well, we need to somehow just put Lucas's name on this.
Bring some
somehow.
goodwill back.
Yes.
To it, yeah. You're playing in George Lucas's sandbox, and you're really limiting these directors on what they can do with these characters because there's already so much.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Because like say what you want about Luke Skywalker in episode 8, whether you liked it or not, like that was not Lucas's Luke Skywalker. Like he said, so has Mark Hamill said, like that was not the Skywalker he knows and loves. He's like, he never would have gave up and things of that nature.
Yeah. And
then episode 9 was like trying to, it really was 2 movies in one. I really think that J.J. Abrams tried to, like in J.J. Abrams' world, episode 9 would have been, half of it would have been episode 8, and then the other half would have been, like they would have been obviously fleshed out a little bit more. But I think they went in such a different direction that he had to do that they had to bring him in to try to save it. And the thing is I was excited when J.J. Abrams got the sequel trilogy at first, because I was like, hey, the new Star Trek movies I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of they went off on like a different tangent thing. I know, like when I first saw them, God, I must have been in middle school or something when the first one came out, but I remember my dad being like, he's a big Star Trek guy, like oh, this completely changes everything because, apparently, what's his face, like knew his father who died and all these different things and like that. And I think J.J. Abrams did a decent job with that, but I just think it was rushed. I think Disney tried to recoup the money they spent.
Oh, yes.
Like, because I first of all, I think that was a deal and a half. They only spent like $5 billion, and you look at it, you're like, oh, that they should have gotten like $50 billion.
Yeah, it's crazy
for that.
What cheap money they paid for that. Crazy.
But yeah, I don't know. I think they kind of are giving it over now more towards Jon Favreau, who did an excellent, like, you can't, like, say what you want about Marvel and whether it's selling out, like, you can't think of a better, like, combination of movies that make money and movies that, like, please the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every movie makes, I know, like, Eternals or whatever didn't make that, but every movie from Marvel pretty much makes $1 billion, and
it's almost a guarantee.
Yes. And everyone's hyped. I mean, look at Disney Plus, and Marvel and Star Wars are like carrying that service.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you know anyone who's getting Disney Plus to watch the Fauci documentary?
No. Oh, fuck no. They do have, it's Star Wars, it's MCU, and then it's all the Disney original shit.
Yes.
It's like I'm not sure, the Disney movies, for sure. Mm-hmm. Disney does these amazing documentaries that they have on there, like they're behind the scenes, like rides and like,
yeah.
really cool stuff. But it's Star Wars and Marvel, like that. Those are 2 pillars.
Yes. My parents are on Disney right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're chilling down in Orlando.
Nice.
So I have to watch the dogs. My dogs hate me. I don't know. I have 2 dogs. My parents have 2 dogs, and they're both black labs.
And they don't like you, black labs?
One is a 9-year-old, or maybe she's 10 now. She's old. I think she's had a rough life. She's like always like focused on like getting food, and she's like, she'll like rip people's throats out. She's not like another, like, she doesn't like attack, like, you can't take her to a dog park because she'll just go on a rampage and start killing dogs.
Very food motivated.
Yes.
I relate.
And then the second dog her name's Allie, and she is like
Black Lab.
Yeah, 3 years old, and she was like the runt of the litter, but she's like scared shitless of me. Like, I can't, like, I go to feed them and I have to like put her bowl down and like go in a room and like close the door, else she won't eat. When I let them out, I have to like open the door, like grab the cat, like go to a room, shut the door, because like she loves my brother, loves my sister. It's as if like someone I hit her or something, but I've never even touched a dog. I would never hit a dog or anything like that. But yeah, but I don't know. Liking The Last Jedi. So when you say it's your favorite of the new trilogy, does it go above any of the original trilogy or prequels?
I don't think any. No, I don't think any of the new trilogy goes over any other Star Wars movies for me. Maybe, but it would be close with Clone Wars. I know you love Clone Wars. I know that's
The TV show?
no
Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the
Okay.
Clones. Sorry.
I mix those up all the time.
I think it would be right around there
Okay.
because that'd be tough because I do. Episode 7 was great, but then I go back and watch it and I realize how much of it is just
It's just a remake.
It's just a rehash. But I can remember being so jazzed up to go see a new Star Wars movie in theaters with new characters and the old characters. I remember being so excited for Episode 7. So it's tough to really rate them for me.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. Rogue One is very high on my list.
Rogue
of Star
One is
Wars movie.
excellent. I love Rogue One.
Yeah.
Rogue One is, in my opinion, it's not a good Star Wars movie. It's a good movie. It's like, it's different than all the other movies because it doesn't really have like, I know they're like shooting blasters and shit like that, but it's a war movie. It's like a spy movie where they go in and it's different, like seeing a movie where you go in and you know the characters, or I assumed that the characters were all going to die because they weren't in episode 4 and, you know, people say like, oh, they died doing this. There's so much I love about that movie that because it just strays from the path. I like how the two main characters, Cassian and what's her name?
It's Felicia.
Yes, I know, but what's her name? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jyn Erso.
Yes, Jyn Erso. I like it
Felicity Jones.
I love it how they did not have like a love relationship. They were just like, that's just so different. Like, it's so weird to see a Disney movie now where like that, because they easily could have made them like fall in love and then they died at the end there. I love it how, you know, the people give Darth Vader at the end there a bunch of shit, kind of for fan service. I loved it. I think him coming in down that hallway was fucking badass. And
yes.
I think that's the one thing that I really hope this new Obi-Wan Kenobi series shows is like, I want to see Darth Vader do some like fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like he was supposed to be like, I know, like, you know, in episode 3, like he kills the younglings and everything like that. Obviously that's super fucked up. But like he was feared throughout the galaxy because like he would come in and just like wreck shit. And we really don't get to see that in episode 4 and 5 and 6 just because like the limitations at the time. And, you know, they weren't going to have him like, you know, come in and just slaughter a village in episode 5. So I really hope that it kind of touches on that. And I think that kind of showed like why people were like, fuck, like Darth Vader's here.
Yeah.
I loved Rogue One. I will say, apparently that movie was like, there were some troubles like shooting that movie.
I do remember that. Yeah, that was Gareth. Didn't Gareth Edwards start that movie? Right, and then they had to bring in someone to finish it.
And like, so because like I think it's I did not have high hopes for it when I originally like heard that, you know, they have to bring in a different fucking director and everything like that. It's like, oh, this is not going to be great. But whatever they did, they covered up a lot. I'd love to see what the original plan for it was. And I'm happy they're doing a little spin-off series there too on a character we really don't know.
Cassian Andor.
So
very excited about that.
Oh, but I don't know. It just shook me to the core. Yeah, because I decided to watch it again last night. Or not last night, a couple nights ago. And to hear you say, like, oh, no, it was, like, you should give it a shot. I was like, oh, God, I hope this fucking guy's joking. Because, fuck, I hate this movie so much. Like, I'm just watching it.
You'll find that for franchises that I love, I'm very
forgiving,
easygoing and forgiving.
Okay.
Yeah. For things that I love, like Star Wars and the MCU, like.
Okay. So, like, Hobbit movies you love?
Oh, I mean, but yeah. Those are just great.
Like I like the Hobbit movies too. Like obviously we can both agree that they're no Lord of the Rings.
No.
But like some people like despise them.
But the thing about them is that the spirit of Peter Jackson, and that sounds so fucking lame, but the spirit of Peter Jackson is there in those movies.
I agree.
Maybe he used a little more CGI in areas where he wouldn't have in the first trilogy he made. And like, it's not, a lot of it is not practical effects, and it doesn't look as good in some areas, and is very like cartoony sometimes.
Which I don't mind though. I don't mind that with the Hobbit because the Hobbit is it's similar to Lord of the Rings, but it was a collection of children's like tales that Tolkien would like tell his kids.
Yeah,
it was not supposed to be like this epic story. It's fun.
So yeah, I do love Hobbit movies, and I will love. Yeah, I like the Battle of the Five Armies. It's great. It's pretty fucking badass.
It's great. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's no Helm's Deep, but
Yeah,
it's
no. I mean, nothing is.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, exactly. There's like Helm's Deep might be the greatest battle in cinema history.
Yeah. Truly.
But I know some people who like love Lord of the Rings who like won't even watch the Hobbit movies
I know.
just because they think and they do make good points. It's like, should there have been 3? Probably not.
Yeah.
But they did a half decent job like bringing in Legolas. It's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're doing here from like a marketing standpoint and from like a fan service standpoint. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's Star Wars news. I keep thinking I'm doing this Book of Boba Fett review that I keep on planning to do, but I've just been dealing with a bunch of shit, and I don't know. I mean, they've been. Have you watched the first
I'm
2
halfway
episodes?
through the first episode. I had to go back because I didn't finish the first episode, and I was watching it and doing something else, so I went back and I rewatched it from whole. So I just started it again, like literally before I came here. I was at my parents' house visiting, and I turned it on for them, and I watched the beginning.
Yep.
Of it.
It's I don't know. It's not as great as Mandalorian. So far, it's really just kind of like there's 2 different stories going on. There's quote unquote present day, when he like replaced Jabba Hutt,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like him coming out of the Sarlacc pit and how he kind of did that.
Yeah. Got taken by the Jawas. I saw that.
No, he didn't.
No, right. He was dragged by the Tusken Raiders.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
The Jawas took his armor.
The Jawas took his armor,
And that's how Timothy Oliphant got the armor in the Mandalorian.
Yes, and so in Star Wars Legends, he was taken by the Jawas, and he was actually rescued by Han Solo, and he had like amnesia. He had no clue who he was, and then like halfway through like being rescued by Han Solo, figures it out and tries to kill people. It's this whole thing, but it's also weird now because Star Wars has like 2 different paths. How they have the pre-Disney books and things like that not too many people know about, and then they have the post-Disney stuff, which I'm fine with because I mean I felt like people were upset when they had to retcon a lot of things, but.
There's the Legends books, and then the Legend books aren't the canon ones, right?
So Legends books were like books that were written pretty much pre-Disney buying them. Because
Okay.
there was like books about like Luke going on adventures with Han, like after Return of the Jedi and fighting, and like Luke gets married and has a daughter and everything like that. And then when Disney bought them, they were like, okay, so we're not just going to make these books into movies. We want to do our own thing. And they started with
I'm trying because I've read a few of them. I'm trying to remember. So yeah, there's like the Rise of the Empire. Oh man, I forget what they were called. Aren't they called 2 different things? There's Legends, and then there's something else.
There's like a bunch of different like trilogies and stuff that inside Legends. So if you see a book and it has a giant Legends thing like banner on top of it, that means it's no longer canon.
Right. That's what it is.
But there's a bunch. There's the what the fuck's his name?
Because I've read Revan, which is a Legends book.
Yep.
I've read the collection, the Lost Tribes of the Sith. It's like a collection of stories about this planet. It's actually very good. You would actually like it, I think. Sith crash land on this planet.
Yep.
And this like way back, way back, and there's basically like a primitive race of human beings living on this planet, and the Sith introduced them to like the Force, and they like essentially like rise up as gods among these people. It's very good, and it takes place over like the course of like 2,000 years.
Oh, nice. The Star Wars books I've read, I like the Tarkin book. Kind of gives a backstory on him. That was good. The Timothy Zahn. Why can't I think of the blue guy? What's the blue guy's name?
The one who plays the piano.
No, he was in no.
In its cantina?
No. Yes, I do. The fucking anteater looking motherfucker, right? Yeah. No, Timothy Zahn. He was in Rebels.
Oh, Thrall.
Yes, Thrawn.
Thrawn is a enemy from Destiny 2.
Yeah. No, Thrawn is great. The books on him are excellent. There's a couple of, there's the Count Dooku. I forget what it's called, but there's a Count Dooku book. It's actually not a book. It's like it reads like a play that goes in like to him like leaving the Jedi Order. That's very good. I'm mostly like a prequel guy, so I kind of like the old stuff. And now they're getting more into like the old not the Old Republic,
High Republic.
The High Republic sort of shit. So looking forward to seeing what they can do with that. I think it was announced the other day that I believe a trailer should be coming out for Jedi Fallen Order 2. Have you played Fallen Order?
Oh yeah.
Great. Fun game, huh?
Really fun game. I like that game a lot. I remember I was well. First of all, since like I think before that my favorite Star Wars game was Force Unleashed.
Okay.
Just because of how fun that was.
Oh, just like, running around, just being a Force god.
I mean, just tooling on
yeah.
Just like rip it. Yeah. So that was great, and I felt decently powerful. It was tough. It was a tough game.
Oh, not Force Unleashed.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes,
Force
Unleashed was. Like,
once you get leveled up.
It's like you're just a god among. There's a reason why his name was Scar Killer. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I can't wait for that second one.
Oh, I can't wait either. I think they did a fantastic job with the first one. The perfect balance of like, so you're this force user, but like you're not like, you really weren't trained like perfect. So like obviously, you could still die to, animals running around and stormtroopers, but the story was great. I liked at the end how it was like, you think you're like, you keep leveling up, and then you see Darth Vader, and there's nothing you can do.
Oh yeah,
it's like see, like that's what I want to see. I want to see Darth Vader like just completely like just destroy like this entire base trying to kill this Jedi.
Yeah.
I think the characters there can be fleshed out a little bit more into like I love how they introduce like Dathomir and things of that nature. It was I'm looking forward to that.
Planet exploration in that game was very fun and rewarding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was very fun.
Did you see the trailer recently, the Star Wars Eclipse game?
Yes.
So that's
I'm looking
High
forward
Republic.
to that. Yes. That should be, who that's made by, correct?
I forget.
It's made by, have you ever played like Detroit Become Human or not Paper Swan? Detroit Become Human, and they have another. It's about like this serial killer who leaves.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. I know.
Origami.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
So it's made by
Quantic Dream.
Yes, Quantic Dream. So they make fantastic games that are kind of like all fleshed out, and they're kind of like choose your own adventure sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that could be fun. Yeah, there's a bunch of Star Wars games coming out, and then they have the Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yeah,
I'm
very excited for that.
You want to talk about some of the maybe like a top video game of all time. That is fantastic.
Totally up there.
Hopefully they do a good job with that, because that game itself still holds up today very well.
I remember playing that for the first time on my original Xbox and being like blown away by it. I love that game.
I mean it's there's so much you can do. There's so many different choices you can make. Go off. It's incredible that it was like, it's almost got to be like 20 years old now.
I'm trying to think of like, at that point, the only Star Wars games I had gotten that I have played was like the original on SNES, which is like decent, but it's a side-scrolling platformer.
Yeah, yep.
Rogue Squadron,
okay,
which is a decent game, but mostly a flight simulator.
Yep.
Flight dog battle, and then like Pod Racer.
Pod Racer.
Fight for Naboo, like it's another on-planet dog fighting game.
Yep. What was the one for the N64 where you play as like knockoff Han Solo? Look up N64 Star Wars game. It's not Galactic Battlegrounds. That was a PC like RTS game.
Shadows of the Empire?
Shadows of the Empire. Yeah, have you ever played that?
No.
So the first level, it was so cool. Like, it looks like absolute dog shit now, but you gotta like understand, this was like through the eyes of like 5-year-old Justin. The first level is you're in a snowspeeder in the Battle of Hoth, and like you're like going around like shooting out tow cables, taking out AT-ATs and AT-STs. It was the coolest thing ever. You go around, you like fight all these different bounty hunters. It was It was fantastic. If you get a chance to play it now, yeah. I mean, look at this. This is just.
I'll bring it up. I just want to see this video. Oh yeah.
I mean, it looks like dog, but like once again, like.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember. Did I play this?
And then
I don't think I did.
You can go first person. Oh, you skipped way past. This is a whole different.
I'm trying
level.
to see. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh.
Yeah, you're on a train right here, and you're jumping around, but you got bounty hunters coming after you and shit. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. And then there was Galactic Battlegrounds, which was like an RTS sort of thing. It was a clone of Age of Empires 2. Was the Galactic Battlegrounds, and
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
it was legitimately like instead of playing as like the Persians or the Romans, you're playing as like the Confederacy, the Republic, or the Empire.
There we go. I see some R2 droids.
Yeah,
R2
yeah.
units.
So I mean, it was fun. But yeah, no. There's a whole bunch of awesome Star Wars shit coming out soon.
I'm more excited for this stuff that is like outside of the realm of what we already know.
I agree. I think that where it's like there's so much between. Like that's why I like the idea of the High Republic, when the Republic was like at its peak, because there's 2,000 years between the rule of two when they make it so the Sith only have two, and then when they come back and Palpatine starts wrecking shit. There's so much that they can explore, and different planets, and not everything needs to be tied together. There doesn't need to be like a little like Easter egg in every single game or every single movie where it's like where something is brought up. But yeah. So hopefully next time you watch The Last Jedi, you kind of just remember what I said. Okay. There's this excellent YouTube series. It's called Why, and it's not a series, it's a video, Why The Last Jedi is a Cinematic Abortion, and it's like 3 hours long.
Jesus. And
it just they dive completely into it. He does get into like a little bit of the like the Rose stuff, and like I said, like I don't think any actor or actress should be attacked for what they play. Who that happened to was what's his name? The guy who played Jar Jar Binks was like contemplating suicide because people would tell him like all the time, like, you need to kill yourself because Jar Jar Binks was so bad. Which is just like, Jesus. Like, I mean, I love Star Wars more than anyone, but no one should kill themselves over a bad performance in a Star Wars movie. So I was kind of hot and not angry about that, but I was like, I can't fucking guys, producing my podcast like in The Last Jedi. How the fuck can I, get through that? But you know what makes up for it though?
What?
Is that we are in this beautiful, beautiful place. Vaulted Podcast. I
do appreciate that.
This is like, I don't know. It sounds excellent. Like when I listen back to it, you really can't like sound it sounds like part of my take, or like you truly can't tell the difference between when a podcast is filmed, or recorded on like StreamYard, and you're using USB mics and something when it's like professionally done. So if anyone out there is thinking about doing a podcast and you're in the southern New England area, Southern Mass, here in Pawtucket, definitely check out Vaulted Podcast and hit up at Matt from RI on Twitter, and he'll get you all the details and things like that, and he'll work with you to figure out what you want to do. And because I mean, the worst thing is like if you start a podcast and then like you listen back to it and it sounds like dog shit. I want to say there's like a 95% chance there's never going to be an episode 2. I mean, like technically it sounds like dog shit. I'm just like pulling this out of my ass. But if you listen to it, and even if the idea's not there yet, I mean, if it sounds good, eventually the idea is going to come. So definitely, I mean, just hit up Matt, hit up Vaulted Podcast on Twitter, and
put your best foot forward when you're making a podcast.
Exactly. Try a little bit. So Bob Saget's dead.
It's very sad.
It is very sad.
Yeah.
Like I said, my parents are out of town this week. They're down in Orlando, and I went to go watch football yesterday, but I couldn't find. They have a Fire Stick that they have like Fubo TV or whatever they use. They use like one of those like YouTube TV knockoffs.
Yeah,
but they like must have hid, or like the dogs must have taken like the Amazon Fire Stick remote. So I was like, fuck this. I hit up my friend Mark. I was like, let's go out and watch the football game somewhere today. He's like, okay, let's go to Six Strings in Foxborough. I don't know if you've ever been. It used to be Toby Keith's Bar and Grill.
I've been to Toby Keith's, never been.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Except Toby Keith's I think they just stopped calling it that because licensing or whatever. So like halfway through the 1:00 games, he's like, so where do you think you're gonna watch the Patriots games? And I'm like, here. Like, he picked me up, and I'm like, here. Like, I thought we were going to watch football, like, all day here. And he was like, oh, no. He's like, I'm leaving in, like, an hour. And I was like, okay. So I had him drop me off at Buffalo Wild Wings. Because, like, for some reason, he was like, oh, I'll have, he's like, I'll pick you up. And I was like, sure. So he picked me up. So I didn't have a car, but he's going home. And I'm like, I want to fucking watch the Patriots game somewhere. So I'm watching the Patriots game at Buffalo Wild Wings. And yeah, boy, that was a tough game. That was a tough game. We'll see. I mean, I like the rematch with Buffalo in Buffalo. Let's go to their place. I'm not entirely sure. If I were a betting man, I would say a 60% chance the Patriots pull this off.
Okay.
I think
a little better than 50-50.
Yeah, I think I'm not too confident in it. I will say whoever wins this game should have bragging rights of winning the division. Because I mean, if the Bills lose, it's like, okay, you lost, but then you lost. It's like in 2010 when the Jets came in and punched MVP Tom Brady square in the face, and kicked that team out of the playoffs. It's like, well, we really can't brag that we were the number 1 seed. If the number 6 seed came in and took us out.
It's fair.
So I don't know. We'll see. We're the number 6 seed, I think. I don't think we're the 5th seed. I think we're the number 6 seed. But it's I don't know. NFL playoffs are you never know. You never know. But I will say I'm not like, I gotta remind Patriots fans out there when they're like just excited, like, oh, we're just excited just to make it. I was like, you can't be excited. Like, I mean, I understand when there's like teams like no offense, but like the Bucks last year, they make the playoffs for the first time since like 2007, 2008,
yeah, 2007.
It's like, okay, well then you can be excited just to make it. But I mean, we're the Patriots. We're like, yeah, I mean, we need to string along a win or two here to kind of consider it a good season. But it's But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think NFL playoffs are fantastic. Who reached out to me actually was Tim Ridgolds. He does the All in the Man Family thing. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" This was like last week. He's like, "What are you doing Saturday the 15th?" And I was like, "I'm not sure," but I was like, "There's a playoff game going on, and it's the the Patriots might be playing, so there's a very good chance I'd be busy." And wouldn't you know, the Patriots are playing Saturday at 8:15. So, sorry, Tim, whatever you wanted me to do on that time, will be not making it.
So they're Saturday night.
Yeah, so I think they're doing like they're doing their All in the Minute Family thing. They were seeing if I was available for something. But I mean, I gotta stick towards I gotta stay with my guys, my Patriots guys. But yeah, so that's exciting. I don't know who's gonna win the playoffs. If you had to pick right now, unbiased, coming out of the AFC.
Coming out of the AFC, obviously, Chiefs is an easy answer. But if I love the Patriots. I mean, I'm not.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I love the Patriots in the playoffs.
Yep.
Because that's just what Bill Belichick does.
Yep.
The Bengals are one of the hottest teams in the AFC, maybe in football.
I think it's kind of a crapshoot right now. I think besides the Steelers, I mean, the Steelers are not winning the Super Bowl. They just snuck in. The Raiders aren't winning the Super Bowl. I mean,
no, they don't have it.
You fired your coach mid-year. You have an interim coach.
The Titans, if they get back, if they can win the first round without Derrick Henry, and then they get Derrick Henry back.
Yeah, I mean, they got home field advantage. It could be the Titans. It could be the Bengals. I feel like anyone's really primed to come out of the AFC. NFC, on the other hand, I think it's Brady. I think the Bucs are coming out.
You know what, man? I hope so. Obviously, as a Bucs fan, playing the Eagles first round scares me because the Eagles,
you never know.
I hate the Eagles so much. I hate them.
You never know.
The Bucs have such terrible history with them in the playoffs.
Yep.
Going back to like 1997, 90 to 2000, those years, they fucking knocked us out so many times.
Wasn't that was it 2002? That the Bucs went in, it was an NFC Championship game, and they went in,
shut it down.
They beat the Eagles, and then you know how they normally have the like the presentation. I forget, it's Lamar Hunt Trophy is the AFC. I forget what the NFC trophy is called.
Yeah.
But they have the presentation of the NFC trophy, but they had to move that from on field like into the locker rooms because Eagles fans were like throwing shit.
Yeah.
And
They're a disgrace. And the other thing was that was the last game played in Veteran Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
And so it literally the walk-off was Rondé Barber took one pick six.
Yep.
And took one home and shut the place down. And the fucking Eagles fans were pissed.
Yeah.
And this is like, this is at the time where the Eagles were like, they were good. They were
consistently making NFC champions.
Right.
I think they made like 4 in a row.
They knocked us out. They knocked us out the year before, and they knocked us out of an earlier divisional game 2 years before that. But we butt heads with the Eagles a lot, and so I'm scared about that. But the Packers, I have to keep reminding myself that Aaron Rodgers blows big games because he does.
Yep.
It's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And the Packers blow big games.
Yep.
But I think this year he has such like for some reason like a weight lifted off his shoulders. I feel like he's been playing all year.
I feel like since in his mind he's not coming back to Green Bay, he's kind of like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
and that might be the best thing. That might be the best thing that possibly could have happened.
The analogy that I made with a friend of mine is I said that this whole year has been like a free play for Aaron Rodgers, and who capitalizes the most on a free play opportunity?
That's a good one. Yeah,
is fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So it scares me. I would love to have another shot at them in the NFC Championship game. That would be phenomenal. Yep. So we'll see. But the Eagles do scare me. I'm not too. We did lose to the Rams, so I don't know. The Cowboys don't scare me at all.
No,
the Cowboys.
I would not be scared of the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the Cowboys.
BAD. Bad.
Yeah, they'll get into the playoffs every other year, but
it's honestly a travesty that they have 12 wins. I don't know how they have 12 wins.
Yeah, it's
that's crazy to me.
It's I don't know. The Cowboys are such a I hate when people refer to them as America's team.
Fuck that.
It's like you haven't been good for like a long time. Like you've
had
good seasons, but then like you never do anything with it.
49ers are hot, obviously. But yeah,
but they're not doing anything.
I do like my Bucks. I like the Packers, and if I was going to put it on another,
like
team,
the Cardinals aren't doing it.
Yeah, I think they've gone way downhill from where they started this year. But I would say that I would put the 49ers in the same camp as the Bengals in the AFC. I think they're both hot teams, and they both have a very. This is going to sound weird with Jimmy Garoppolo, but a very potent offense.
Yep.
With Debo and obviously with all the great receivers the Bengals have. So.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. My one wish for the playoffs is I want Patrick Mahomes eliminated
ASAP
as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I hate him.
I don't know. This is like
I hate the Chiefs.
Everyone was burying him like 5 games into the year. It was like the leagues found out Patrick Mahomes. He had a very good year.
He did have a good year.
He had a very good year. He did not have a Patrick Mahomes type year, but neither did Brady in 2018, and they won the Super Bowl against the Rams. Like these quarterbacks have like down years for them. I think Patrick Mahomes still made the Pro Bowl.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did.
And like he'll have like a stretch of like 3 bad games. People will be like, "Oh, yep, Justin Herbert, is much better than Patrick." Like let's time out. And like I had conversations with legitimate Patriots fans this year who were like, "Who would you rather have right now and for the foreseeable future? Mac Jones or Patrick Mahomes?" And I said, no. No. Like, I love Mac Jones to death. But, I mean,
it's easy.
Patrick Mahomes is, like, he's already, like, a borderline Hall of Fame player. And he's, what, 26?
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know. I think this year's playoffs can be interesting. It would be nice to have, like, full stands again. It'd be nice to have a Super Bowl full of people. I know that I don't know if you've seen that thing where
they have a backup.
They contacted Dallas and were like, "Hey, if we need to have the Super Bowl here because they can't do it in LA, they'll figure it out to do it in LA." I feel like
is crazy.
The NFL.
The only thing about LA is that California is crazy with their fucking rules.
They are. I don't know.
They're crazy. They could do it. I mean, look at Joe Rogan left California because of the fucking rules. You think they're going to allow a fucking event where they're having hundreds of thousands of people show up?
I don't know. I mean, I hope so, because I'd love to. That's one of the that's not on my bucket list. Obviously, I'm 25, but I'd love to check out that stadium ASAP.
Oh yeah,
because I heard it's fucking gorgeous and
Yeah.
like it's unreal.
Yeah.
It costs like $5.4 billion to
it's
make.
crazy. It's crazy.
Wild.
It's funny that the Rams got beat by the 49ers,
yes,
to get into the
in
playoffs
overtime, I believe.
in their home stadium, and people were saying Stafford was saying that it was tough to communicate with the team because of how loud it was in there.
Well, that's because
They don't have fans.
they don't have. And if you think like, whenever the Patriots would go to like San Diego or like a low tier market team, there would be more Patriots fans in the stand.
I mean,
especially like 49ers have a legitimate fan base that travel. LA. There's no diehard LA Rams. There might be like people in LA who think like it's hip to like buy a Rams hat and maybe they go to a Rams game, but they don't know
how many people are left around from the original LA Rams.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Not many.
Yes, not many.
And now the displaced fans that are not displaced, but the people in St. Louis that were Rams fans are not traveling to
No,
LA.
not at
for
all. No, they
games.
fucking hate the Rams, if
Yeah.
anything. And then like it's like that, but like 20 times worse for the Chargers. I mean, you remember like in the StubHub Center, the soccer stadium that they had to like, tarp off parts of the stadium because they just weren't bringing anyone in.
I won't front. The Buccaneers were like that before Brady got here. I mean, I used to go.
It
down,
wasn't as bad.
I used to go down for Bucks games at least once a year. I haven't gone since Brady's been quarterback, but Winston Freeman years, I went down there, and I would go to like a Chicago game, and the place would be jam packed with Chicago fans, Bears fans, Dallas fans, because they travel fucking well too.
They do.
Giants.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not. Yeah, I mean that's just it. But like Jacksonville's much worse than the Bucks when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So you were saying bucket quote unquote bucket list. You want to go to a Super Bowl?
I'd like to go to a Super Bowl, and I'd also like to go to a Patriots game in LA. So like whether it's probably a Chargers game because they play more often. But check out that stadium. So
love Rams.
But
cool.
Yeah, we'll see. But going back to Bob Saget, did you see this Jerry Callahan tweet?
Yeah.
That was just like
as tone deaf as you could
it's
possibly
just,
get.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Tone deaf, but also Jerry, I like you. I listen to your podcast every once in a while.
So
that's just like you just like totally outed yourself as someone who is not with the times because
on multiple levels. Like because I saw some people going after him talking about how like it's disrespectful to. So no offense to Michael K. Williams, who was he played Omar on did he play Omar?
Yeah.
On The Wire.
Yeah, and he was Chucky White in Boardwalk Empire.
Michael K. Williams or Mac Miller or Jimmy Hayes, but this is Bob Saget. If this is fentanyl, this changes things. This wakes people up.
I like Bob Saget.
I like Bob. I do not want this to sound like I'm shitting all over Bob Saget.
Yeah.
But he is nowhere near as popular right now than Mac Miller was when I have friends who still make posts about Mac Miller.
I haven't made a post about him in a while, but I love Mac.
But I know people people who love Mac Miller. There's
if you had taken a poll on Twitter where he tweeted this,
yes,
of who do you and everybody saw it on Twitter.
Correct.
Mac Miller would drown out Bob Saget
even before either of them died. Obviously, if you did it yesterday, more people would think of Bob Saget recency bias or when Mac Miller died. First of all, none of that should make any should matter about now you're going to start taking fentanyl serious because Bob Saget died. Secondly, those other people aside, I don't think anyone has reported that Bob Saget died of fentanyl.
No, that is the core thing that we should be talking about.
Which is what the fuck? Why?
I heard him on his show because I had to hear it. I had to hear his rationale.
I saw the little clip.
He's like, it could be a Xanax. I'm not saying anything about his personal life, but basically being I don't think he's doing coke, but or fucking heroin, but it could be a Xanax.
And then he said
he could get it from somebody I'm having trouble sleeping. Here's a Xanax with fentanyl in it.
Well, then he said don't get this wrong. This isn't an overdose. I go, if you think it's fentanyl and he died from it, what would you call it?
It's such a wild
It's such a out of touch, someone who doesn't understand what the fuck they're talking about.
Just crazy. I mean, it's just nuts.
It's like there is a fentanyl problem in the country, like no doubt. I don't think Bob Saget is if he did die of fentanyl. I don't know if there's any celebrity death who would die of fentanyl that would really make, because the only thing that really brings people like, oh, this is serious, is like if a family member dies from it.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to be like, okay, if I fuck around with this stuff.
Especially like around here, Jimmy Hayes.
I mean, the body's like the poor guy.
Yeah, and also like this is another, and I hate this. This is another situation of someone using someone's dead body as a prop.
Yes.
It's like, stop it, Jerry. We have to stop that. Like,
but as a prop for like something that probably, maybe it comes out in a couple months that he had fentanyl, and this is maybe Jerry,
or
has
he just
some
had a heart
inside scoop,
attack,
or he's just a 65-year-old. People die all the time.
Yeah, it's tragic.
And it's
young.
It sucks. He's too young. Perhaps, I mean, when Norm died, it was like he had long-term cancer. I don't think this is if I were to guess, Bob Saget was just a 65-year-old guy whose heart gave out on him one night after
for whatever reason.
Show. For whatever, probably years of eating cheeseburgers or something like that. It's probably it's not anything that
just like to jump to fentanyl is such a hilarious thing.
Just like where did this come from?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we were just like arguing about like the popularity of the people named, but really what it boils down to is that he claimed he is possibly saying that Bob Saget died of fentanyl, which is possible,
but no one's reported that.
Which
like
is insane.
I think the sheriff's department or whatever that found the body said that like they don't suspect drug use.
Sure.
Which, because normally there's some sort, if you're doing some sort of drugs around the body, there's some sort of paraphernalia or other drugs around.
Right. Unless you like inject it and like throw it out the window.
Which
you clean everything up and you throw it out the window.
Yeah, which maybe Bob Saget had like people who was like, hey, if I ever, when I do this fentanyl and I die, make sure,
take the shit out of here, yeah.
I don't know, but it was just wild to see. And then you see all these reports now of people, which it's just as bad as when people say, when someone will die of some sort of disease and they'll be like, this person, unvaccinated person died. Well, now with Bob Saget, people are saying, oh, he got his booster shot in late December. Which is like, maybe that played a factor, but also like people died before COVID. Like people, some people just die of heart attacks or strokes or,
I was just talking about this with my family, my brother and my parents. The media does such a fucking shitty job of, and by shitty job, I mean they do a great job of it, but it's shitty of them to do it. Like fear mongering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's terrible. The way they make people like get upset and like, yeah, it's just terrible.
Well, now people are going to say, oh, the reason why he died was because he was boosted or whatever on December 16th, when very well he could have, like, we don't know. Yeah. Maybe it comes out, and maybe I'm completely wrong, that the reason why he died was because, I mean, he didn't seem sickly. I mean, it sounds like it was just a regular old heart attack. I mean, he was tweeting about, like, doing shows. He was on tour. Yeah. But wild tweet from Jerry. And then, I heard on his show that he was like, this isn't, like, if this is fentanyl, this isn't an overdose. It's like, what? Yeah, it would be. It's like, I understand fentanyl is like super, like the.
Well, he means in Jerry speak, he means he wasn't like doing like crazy drugs. I think that's what he meant. He means it's a fentanyl overdose, but it wasn't. I think that's what he meant because I listened to it today too.
Yeah, but I don't know. The whole thing just sounds like like old man, very out of touch, does not understand that like. Sorry, this isn't Mac Miller. Like,
it's so funny. Like Mac Miller was such a he was so popular as
like
a
when
musician.
he died and like he was in like his prime.
Yeah.
People would say. And like I know people now who are like who legitimately like I know someone who like used to do drugs and then like the Mac died and I stopped fucking with it. And I was like, oh, like that's great. Yeah. Most people probably wouldn't do that.
It's so funny that he probably thinks that Mac Miller like he probably looked up a list of people that have died from fentanyl, and he's like, "Well, it's not Mac, because there's no way Jerry knows Mac Miller."
Oh, you don't think Mac?
He's not listening to street kids, and
he probably he's like he's got a song called Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh man.
He must love the Donald Trump song.
Actually, you're probably right.
But no.
That's funny.
That was just such a wild tweet out of left field, and I was like, "The fuck, Jerry."
We got to stop. Bob Saget dying is very sad. We have to stop using deceased people as props for our arguments online.
Especially, it'd
We
be
need to
one thing.
stop.
It'd be one thing if Bob Saget a month ago was like, "I'm fucking battling fentanyl like a motherfucker. Like I have a serious issue," and then he dies of it, and you're like, "Man, fentanyl is like an issue." It's one thing just you're like, it'd be like Betty White dying and being like, "Fucking."
That would have been what a missed opportunity. Someone should take Jerry's tweet and just replace Bob Saget with Betty White.
Oh, that would be, because it's just like,
imagine reading that tweet. Oh my God.
It's like, sorry, John Madden, like all these other people who didn't die of fentanyl. Jerry just understands, who thinks that everyone who dies in the past year is just because of fentanyl. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's like sometimes people just die. And it sucks, and I'm sure there's an underlying health reason that, honestly, we as the public don't deserve to know.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had some sort of condition or some sort of, heart thing, like because he was on Full House, we need to know the cause of death. I mean,
no, we don't.
And like he was a celebrity, a public figure, but I wouldn't consider him like, obviously he was quote unquote like past his prime. I'm not even trying to shit on him, but he it's not like he was at like the Bob Saget tour wasn't taking over America. And then, this wasn't Michael Jackson's tour, as he died.
Yeah. I was listening to the Yak this week, the Barstool podcast.
Yep.
And they were doing a what celebrities going to which category of like A-list celebrity, B-list celebrity, C-list, and so on. Where would you put from A to D? Where would you put Bob Saget at his peak? And
at his peak, I would probably go A. I mean, he was the host of a huge, like, it's not a huge show now. I think who's the Carlton guy, fucking America's Funniest Home Videos.
I want to say Giovanni Ribisi. That's not
no. What's his name? Yeah, look it up real quick. It's Carlton from. Yeah, Carlton. Which also, have you seen that they made like a gritty reboot of that?
Yeah, it's like a drama.
Yeah,
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Yes. I would probably say he would probably be like. I don't want to say he was never as big as like Michael Jackson, but I would probably say like low A.
I agree with low A.
And right now, I'd probably put him in like a high C.
Yeah,
like Bob Saget. Like if you told me like, oh yeah, like you could have told me like I'm going to see Bob Saget in Providence tonight, and it wouldn't be like my response would be like, oh, Bob Saget's in Providence, and then I would have to think like, oh, like I did not know that. Like, but it's still a big enough name where you're not like, oh, I'm going to see Bob Henderson or like some random name, and I'd be like, I don't know who that is. Like it's still a household name, and Full House was huge.
He was America's TV dad for a very long time.
Yeah, was he on Fuller House?
Yes, I didn't watch Fuller House, but I believe when my wife was watching it, I just asked her, I'm like, do they have any of the characters from the original show? And she said yes, that a lot of them like come in and out.
Yeah, I guarantee you he's not like a full-time thing, but I bet he comes in and he does the,
Yeah.
Like, hey.
Well, they live in the same house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that house is a lot more expensive now, though.
Yes. Yes.
Have you seen?
Good thing it stayed in the family.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just that's such. I saw that because I saw everyone tweeting about it, and Jerry, of course, has me blocked, because I tweeted a joke at him. Kirk was angry at him a while ago, and I tweeted it was when Jerry took an advertisement from The Athletic. And I said Judas sold out Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. Podcast Judas sold out podcast Jesus for $30 from The Athletic. And I don't think he liked the religion analogy.
No, but blasphemous.
But
blasphemous.
Yeah, so he blocked me, and I've never had a use for Jerry or anything like that. But yeah, I just saw people. I think the KMS show, I believe it was Kirk, tweeted like I could write a book on this tweet.
Yeah.
Because it's just so it's so strange, and also like what a weird shot at Michael Williams, Mac Miller, and like one that doesn't fit, but also like someone dying and being like, this is much bigger than, these celebrities who tragically died young.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jerry Boberry. What are we going to do with him?
Jerry Boberry.
What are we going to do with him? But, yeah. You know what else I saw? The last thing I want to bring up is, are they making a remake, not a remaster, a remake of The Last of Us?
Yeah, so they're doing a ground up. Apparently, what I've gotten from what they've talked about is it's a ground up. Essentially, I think they're going to make the original Last of Us, the PS3 game, in the Last of Us Part 2 engine.
Okay.
So they're going to rebuild it from the ground up.
So it's kind of like, yeah, I know you said you haven't played the Resident Evil games, but
yeah,
Resident Evil 2 and 3, they
Yes.
took like the 90s games and they rebuilt them.
That's
But
what
I feel like
gonna
it's a little soon because The Last of Us isn't like an old game.
it's not, but I think that playing the PS4 HD remaster
Yep.
compared to The Last of Us Part 2, which might be one of the most beautiful games that I've
Okay.
ever played, it's
I gotta play these games
on the same console generation is like, oh man, if people really want to go back and play the Part 1, like they're not going to enjoy, or if they're like, oh, I really want to play Part 2, but I want to play Part 1, it's really not an enjoyable experience compared.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, it like Part 2 makes so many better choices in like how you move in environments and things like that, and just the way it looks so much better.
Because I played like half of the Part 1,
Yeah.
and it's an excellent game. It's a story driven. It's
On
it's
PS3
fantastic.
or the HD remaster.
PS4.
Okay, yeah, right.
And then I haven't played Part 2. I've heard mixed things about Part 2. I heard people don't like Part 2 for stupid reasons.
People don't. Yeah, there's some stupid reasons that people get hung up on, but I think overall it's a great story. It's weird because it is one of those things where like people can be divisive on things.
Yep.
But I just like there's some people that really hate the direction of the story, and then there's other people that are like, wow, they really nailed this. So it's like it's weird. It really is that like, it's not not speaking in hyperbole. It really is this great divide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I read that like right before I got in. I was like, they're already doing like a remake of it, and then I thought like, are they just doing like a reimagining thing? Like, could you consider like Ocarina of Time like a remake of the original Zelda? Like is it someone of like that?
Ocarina of Time might be a stretch, but I could see like Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Okay.
Is I guess a remake or reimagining of A Link to the Past.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I was just because the way the article read it, I was like, that seems like kind of quick for a remake.
It is. It definitely is quick, but I think it's one of those things where like it's a PlayStation. All of their first party stuff.
Yep.
They want it to be as high. Here's the other thing too. They want it as high fidelity as possible because they have this great collection of games, like really high quality, like dense stuff, and they're starting to port it all to PC.
Okay.
And I think that this one might be the first one maybe that we get where it's like it's day and date. It's on PlayStation, and then very soon after it's also on PC.
Okay.
And I think that maybe they want to like just like, spruce up the collection.
I like it.
You know what I mean? That's my only. I don't hate it because honestly, I had trouble like finishing the Last of Us game because I had a lot of issues with like I was playing because I played it really late.
Yep.
And I had a lot of issues with like the way it looked compared to other games I was playing around that time, like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is like this beautiful game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
no, I understand that, but I just thought I just read that and I was like, that seems, but no, the way you put it makes sense.
Also, the end all be all is.
Yeah, you get more money. Yeah, it's going to be a $60 game where if they released like a remaster, which I'm surprised they haven't done.
Yeah.
For PS5, people would. I'm sure they would get.
Oh, you mean a director's cut? Wink,
oh
wink?
yeah. What do they do with Skyrim?
Oh,
Every generation or GTA 5 Definitive Edition.
Yeah.
Collector's Edition.
I bought Death Stranding in 2018 when it came out, and I played it recently. And then, because I just had it sitting around for a while, but then I just bought the director's cut again and spent the same money on the director's cut.
Now,
for a few extra things.
Now, how is that? How is that game? I've never played it before. I've heard either it's like an incredible game or I've heard it's a walking simulator.
It is. So it definitely is a walking simulator. You can't say it's not. But
this is also coming from two guys who love Lord of the Rings, which is
right, which is
perfect. People say is a walking movie.
I love it. It is one of my favorite games from the PS4 generation.
Okay.
The story is a Kojima nonsense wacky bullshit.
Yep.
So if you like that, if you like Kojima, you're gonna love that. I just love the gameplay loop. It's delivering. It's like it's like puzzles almost. You have to figure out how to get this much stuff to this place over this terrain using these things in this amount of time. You have to avoid the rain.
Yeah, I know the rain is like acid. And
Yeah,
then
right.
Are there like birds or something like that too?
It's well, there are birds. There's like some wildlife, but essentially it's like I won't get too far deep into it, but the rain is called timefall, and essentially whatever it's raining, whatever it's raining on accelerates the time that it like essentially dies. Like grass will grow and die very quickly. So it's that kind of shit. But it's one of those games where you can like, it has a good soundtrack, but you can like throw on a podcast or listen to some music and like be like playing it. And it's just like, it's very relaxing. I
kind of like a Breath of the Wild sort of thing.
Very similar, yes. And you can like, there's a lot of ways, once you get pretty deep into the game, there's a lot of ways where you can avoid confrontation altogether. So you can really just make it nice and real.
I have heard also that it takes like 5 or 6 hours to get past like the learning of it, or not the learning, but like the intro.
You get
until you get into like the juicy like now you're actually playing the game.
Yeah, I would say about 3 hours.
Okay,
I would say about 3 hours, and I beat it. I rolled credits in 38 hours, so it's like one of those type of games.
Yeah, nice. Because I like Kojima. I think he is a
he does a lot of cool stuff in it. Where like he put a lot of his friends in the game. Okay, where like you'll go to like a random shelter in the middle of nowhere where you're delivering to and be like, it's fucking Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. I've seen that. It's weird because you expect Conan O'Brien to be playing Conan O'Brien, but he's not.
No, I'm like, it's Guillermo del Toro. It's like, what? Like, what? He's just like, so anyway, so it's like he puts a lot of his friends in it. He has like a lot of like, you find these little collector like USB drives from like a previous world and you plug it in and it's like, oh, the Honda, motorcycle from 1980. It's his favorite motorcycle. It's like his favorite anime. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that kind of shit. I feel like Kojima's good.
You ever play PT?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You said you don't like scary things, right?
I don't, but I had to because that was such a phenomenon, and I have it still on my PlayStation 4.
That's worth something.
Yeah,
that's worth something.
I had to make sure when I went from my PS4 regular, the launch one, to the PS4. I actually have a Death Stranding PS4 Pro.
Okay.
I had to look up how to transfer it because there was ways where you couldn't re-download it from the cloud. Correct. So I had to literally connect the two consoles together and transfer it over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. See, because I unfortunately never got to play it. I've watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. What that could have been, huh? That could have been
that. I mean, there are still people that are holding out hope that.
I'll watch like top 10 lists of like horror games, and that will be like number 1.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, like
for those of you who don't know, PT, it's a
playable teaser.
Playable teaser by Kojima. It was supposed to be for a Silent Hill game. Yeah.
Yes, and it's if you look it up, it's like 15-20 minutes long. You're like in a hallway and you're in this loop, and it's very scary. Well, anyway, it was like a phenomenon when it came out because it came out with like no warning. No one knew anything about it. And it was on the PlayStation Store. It was free. You could download it. You could play it. And then, Kojima had a falling out or something with the developers that was supposed to happen. So they took it off the PlayStation Store. And now it's like gold. Yeah. Because you can't play it anywhere else.
It's been remade in, I think they did it in Dreams. They remade it in Minecraft, but that's bullshit. It's been remade a bunch of times.
Yes, but the original is like you can't play it. And it's kind of just lost to the ages.
I've seen this is kind of like a Flappy Bird situation.
Yes,
where you can go on eBay and buy consoles with it installed.
Yes, you think Flappy Bird?
I think that. Let me see. I'm gonna go on eBay right now. I'm gonna search Flappy Bird
because they can't be like anything newer than like an iPhone 4.
So here we go. Original Oh my God, Justin.
How much?
I'm gonna put this on the screen. An original Flappy Bird. $1,500 on eBay right now.
On a what?
Now I'm gonna look it up right now. I don't know. So you have to remember, what they mean by original Flappy Bird is this is on the phone that you could download it on at the time, and this looks like
this looks like a
selling of this very rare original Flappy Birds on a Samsung Galaxy Express.
Jesus Christ! Do you think you could even like get that to work as like a phone right now?
I mean, you just boot it up to play Flappy Bird. No scratches or cracks on the phone. Phone's 100% functional. It is in a case with prop kickstand. Who cares? That I bought separately. Cool. It has an eBay recommended sell price of $6,000, which means that if eBay recommends you sell it at $6,000, that means that it's on the low end of average of what it was selling for.
Yeah.
If that's true. So $1,500 right now, you can
I'm going
place
through
a bid.
a couple other ones. It's like $500 their best offer.
Yeah. You have to be careful because I remember the time people were selling like the knockoff games.
Yep.
Yeah.
God,
It's crazy.
Talking about
It's
another person who was
crazy.
like almost killed themselves because of Flappy Bird.
I know.
This dude made a game for $1. That was when, games on the App Store cost money and weren't just filled with advertisements. And then it was like so hard. It was such a thing. I remember this girl telling me in high school, I was like, oh yeah, Flappy Bird. She's like, don't get it. It's so hard. And
I was such an idiot. I downloaded it and then it got taken away and I just deleted it. After it got, and I was like,
yeah,
because
because I remember there was another. I had a version called like Fallout Bird, and
Yeah.
it was Flappy Bird, except you were like a musical note and it would play Fallout Boy music. There's like a million of them.
looks like between $300 and $400 you can get a PT PS4. There's one that's up here for $20,000, but I
doubt it.
yeah, I don't think.
But I know at one point they were going for like, like at least like they were selling for like thousands of dollars.
Pretty crazy.
So, yeah, that's those were like NFTs before NFTs, I guess.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, think about it, digital media that you can't touch. That was
Well, I have a PS4 Pro Death Stranding edition with the PT on it. If anybody wants to make me an offer.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You reach out to Matt. Also, if you want to start a podcast, definitely hit him up here at Vaulted Podcast at Matt from RI. Anything else you want to hit on?
I'd like to, if it's all right with you, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the Blind Mike Project.
Of course.
Blind Mike Project doing a lot of interesting stuff right now. Very good. Obviously, they do their podcast. He does More on Money. I like to say it's Mike and Craig is the producer. But they are
And
also
creator.
doing this show that I produce called Why Are You Laughing?
Yeah.
Which last week had the Rise and Fall of Dane Cook episode come out for free. That
Yep.
You can go on their YouTube and watch, or podcast services. Why Are You Laughing? And listen. It's been really great. This week,
Chris
we're
Rock.
getting Chris Rock,
Chris Rock, baby.
which you produced.
I did. Yeah. There was some audio issues at the end there,
Stuff out of your hand.
but I tried to.
It sounds good.
I tried. If you heard what it was beforehand, it sounded like shit. But no, yeah. Shout out Blind Mike and the Blind Mike Project. Let's get. I kind of want to do like a telethon sort of thing
Live
to
show.
get him to 600 600 Patreon members to get that fucking live show, because I think that would be a blast.
Listen, everybody,
Mike's
just give
the
a
man.
dollar. Just give a dollar. Get us to 600. We want a live show. I want a live.
I will
show.
say, not to get too KMS oriented, but for Dave Cullinane to suddenly tell Mike that the live show should be free is fucking insane.
Yeah.
That there's no. I understand being a Patreon, but if you want to go to a Blind Mike live show, you should be able to pay $25.
I think, and I also think that if they're patrons that are going to this, that they wouldn't mind paying for the show because they know what it's going towards, the content,
Correct.
the content that they like.
Correct. I mean, maybe if you're like a $50 patron, but like if you're a $5, I mean, wild for Dave to accuse that. I mean, I'm just saying the Quantum Week has a fucking Patreon, and they didn't fucking let anyone in for free. So.
Most importantly here is that I believe Mike almost committed to say he's going to do stand up at the live
He
show.
did, yeah. I heard that. He said maybe he'll do 5 minutes.
Which I would love to hear. Genuinely, Mike. I'm being genuine. I would love to hear your stand up. I think that he just needs to break his seal. I think he needs to do it and do it good and get a good laugh, and I think he'll take off from there.
Yeah, no, totally. So definitely, check out patreon.com/blindmike. Please become a patron there, because I just want the live show. I think that would be a blast. I'd love to go to it.
And I don't want to promote, but there's another podcast
Average
going
Nobodies,
on.
of course.
Yeah, Average Nobody. I don't care. I'm not going to promote this other one because I know you'll be upset with me. But I've found the use case of why I am interested in this other podcast.
Real quick.
I like commenting on the pictures of the theaters.
Okay.
I see a theater and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw Suicide Squad there. Cool.
Nice. Nice.
That's it.
Oh, great.
I just thought it was funny because
another show that has to talk about that fucking.
No, we're not bringing it up.
No.
No free ads.
I know. No free ads. But yeah, thanks for everyone for listening, and I will talk to everyone. Oh, also, leave a funny review on Apple, because I've just been in like the there are some podcasts like leave a funny 1-star review. I don't care.
We promise Justin won't delete it.
I promise I won't delete it. Just leave a funny thing. Like there was a couple ones that I was reading that were pretty funny. Yeah, just leave funny review. I don't care if they're 1-star, 5-star, 25-star. Just do something. So appreciate it. Anything else, Matthew?
Nope.
Awesome. I will talk to everyone next week. Bye.